It was so hard for me to get anybody to rent to me an apartment. You know, I had the money put up, I'd saved the money. I had called numerous apartment complexes that were supposed to be second chance, and nobody would, after they saw, you know, my record on paper, would rent to me. So, you know, I told my daughter, they need to see me, you know, because they see this record that looks horrible, and so they have this stereotype of what I probably look like in their head. So I went to this apartment complex, and the lady saw me, and I told her, you know, my story and, you know, where I am today opposed to what that piece of paper says. And she said, well, I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath I'd like to show you. And she said, well, I need to talk to the owner of the complex. And so he was like, oh my gosh, have you seen this record? No way, can we rent to her? And she was like, no, I think it'll be okay. She rented to me, and I was good on that lease. But when they were bought out by somebody else, I had to reapply when my lease was up, and I was denied. And I haven't been able to find any place to rent to me since. And I've been out 3.5 years. That happened 2 years ago. That's been my biggest struggle since I've been out. You know, I'm grown, I don't want to live at home, but I really don't have a choice right now.
Before I went to prison, my mother had purchased a home so that she could keep an eye on me and keep me safe, a home of my own. When I got out and I got pregnant, I needed that place to stay, so I moved into that house. It's a small house built in 1930. Me and my son are loving on it. It's old and it's falling down, and we plan on remodeling it and staying there, and just being overly blessed by the fact that we have a home.
I had a place to stay at my mom's house, you know, and I could stay there as long as I wanted to on the ranch. So that was a blessing in disguise. I said, well, at least I have a home. I have a roof over my head. The room was small, but prison was smaller. We were just in a small cubicle, so I was okay with that. At least I had privacy. I had a door, and my own bathroom, so I was not going to complain about that. So I said, well, I guess I need to start saving up for a place, Mom. And she goes, you don't have to go anywhere. You can stay here, and you can stay here and save up. And she goes, matter of fact, she goes, I enjoy your company. Have somebody to talk to, somebody that wants to cook for me, you know, and clean, you know, with me, and have a conversation with. It's been amazing. We've built this wonderful relationship. I was never close to my mom. Now we're so tight and we're so close. And so something good has come out of that.
Whenever I got out of prison, housing was definitely a challenge for me. I had a great job. I was making good money. And so I started trying to look for an apartment. And a lot of apartment management companies have this 10-year rule that you have to not have your last felony conviction has to be 10 years ago before they will let you move into their apartment community. I was 51 years old, starting my life all over again, starting my retirement all over again. And I just really started looking toward the future and for ways that I could save money. And my stepdad had passed away, and they had a motorhome. And so today I live in a motorhome. I have a very simple life, and it's really cool. It's allowed me a lot of freedoms that I wouldn't have had if I'd been tied down to a mortgage or to an apartment lease. And so I've really done well with that. It's perfect for me.
When I got released in December, I went to a sober living home, and I didn't know what I was coming to. I had done it all by phone because I was in College Station, and I don't have any family really. Most of my family is deceased, so I didn't really have anybody to look into it for me. So I called Melissa, my friend, who had been out for a while, and she went and checked it out, sent me pictures, and it was good. It was within an okay price range. I was going to pay $600 a month. Well, when I got there, the living situation was not what I had expected. There was a man there with his 2 wives, and it was just like, it was a very weird situation. And I was very uncomfortable. And, you know, I had told my parole officer about it. You know, I know I had just moved in, but it was already uncomfortable. And he said, well, just to keep in touch with him, let him know, and, try to find something that would better suit my needs. Anything, something that's not going to put me at risk in any way. I actually happened to hear from one of my friends, my best friend from high school, his wife. We got reconnected, and I found out they live just a few miles from where I was. And they're like, tell me about their church. They would love for me to go to church with them. And I told them about my living situation. They're like, well, we have a room. And I think this is a God thing, because we could use some extra money, and we would love it if you, and they, I guess they had talked about it, and they're like, we would love it if you'd come stay with us. I was like, and it was just a godsend.
As far as getting in place when you have a felony was hard because the first place I went to wouldn't rent to me. But then I went into the third place, I believe it was. I laid everything on the line right as I walked in. This is what it is. This is what I've done. And she said, no, she said, no problem. And within 2 weeks, I had signed a lease and moved in. It's just all about not giving up. You can't give up, because if this door doesn't answer, knock on the next one. If that one doesn't answer, and it may be 10 times, it may be 15 times, but the point is, if you keep asking, you will find somebody. And if you just let God lead you in the right direction, you will find somebody that is willing to work with you. You can't stop just because you got 1 or 2 no's. You just can't, because with a felony on your record, you are going to get no's, and they can't let that hinder them. They just got to keep looking.